excuse my messy hair. I just got done with my morning walk, but I think that we need to talk about Mackenzie Shirilla. Mackenzie Shirilla. But first, before we get into it, you know the drill, you know the deal. We gotta do some channel maintenance, channel hygiene. Channels aren't Tamagotchi. So if you're new here, welcome to my nonsense. If you're old here, welcome back. Oh geez, if you're new here, please consider hitting subscribe. And if you're old here, go double check, make sure you're subscribed. Hit the like if you like, leave a comment. Can be anything related to the video. It could just be a hello, a few emojis, whatever, as long as it's cool and respectful. Hit the notification bell. As always, I've linked my tip jars down yonder in the description box. No pressure whatsoever. But every $1 or $2 helps. That is what allows me to continue to make content. Also, you are invited to my Patreon. I know not everybody can come, but you can't say you weren't invited. The link to my Patreon is down below, and I post a lot over there. If you want extra content but you don't leave this platform, you can join YouTube memberships by clicking join below or go to my channel page, clicking the join button. That is content that is exclusive to YouTube members. Okay, let's pop in a Trident vibe and get it cracking. So a little overview on who Mackenzie Shirilla is. Mackenzie Shirilla is a young woman from Ohio who was convicted of intentionally crashing her car in July 2022, killing her boyfriend Dominic Russo, and his friend Davion Flanagan. The incident, which occurred in Strongsville, Ohio, resulted in her being charged with murder, and she was found guilty on 4 counts, including 4 counts of murder, 4 counts of felonious assault, and 1 count of tampering with evidence. Shirilla, who was 17 at the time, was an aspiring social media influencer. So yes, this happened in 2022, but Netflix just did their interview documentary thing with her titled The Crash. I have not watched that. I've only watched a million other things about the interview. I've watched some parts of Annie Elise's videos. I've watched Sloan did something on her. I know I watched one body expert type guy do something on her. But yeah, it says Shirilla was a social media influencer with a significant following on TikTok. She had been in a relationship with Russo for 4 years. So, here's the thing. This child is a monster. This child, well, she's not a child anymore, but she was a monster. Like, the people at school, teachers, and kids had a lot to say about her. Not her little goons, I mean like other people and teachers and stuff. That she would like bully other kids, and that she would even tell them to themselves. So she was one of those type of girls, right? Now she was in a relationship with this Tom Russo, and I think he was older than her, which is a concern. So they dated for 4 years, but I think she started dating him when she was 13 or 14, and but her parents were like, oh, we're not like regular parents, we're like cool parents. So not only did they let her date Tom, who was older, but they let her smoke. Like, her whole social media influencer was like her hitting her bong, and just her acting stupid, which this is maybe why kids shouldn't. I'm glad I did not have social media when I was in high school, early high school years. to sit in the office until your parent picks you up. So he said he got to the school. He goes, I look at my daughter. I say, did you do it? She looked at me. She was crying. And at that moment, the mom goes, the parents are wacky AF, okay? So in the interview, then the mom goes, and then he said, my daughter looked at me and she said, no. And he goes, I know when my kid is lying. So I said, that'll be all. And like grabbed my kid and got out of there. Or no, he said, that's all I need to hear. And got his little brat kid and walked out. That is why your kid is the way that she is. And that is why she did what she did. They have just fostered this environment, the perfect storm to create a kid with zero empathy and zero accountability and zero brain. This kid is dumb AF. She's super, super stupid too. I've watched enough, okay? But it's not even a laughing matter because she goes on, she's dating this dumb kid. And he has a friend, Davion. I guess he's like starting to hang out with the friend more and maybe seeing that his girlfriend, Mackenzie, is a little off her rocker. There is some video evidence of her like banging on Tom's door, saying like, you have 10 seconds to let me in, or I'm gonna like break this thing down, or I'm gonna key your car, stuff like that. Like, she was that girl. And he would be like, look, I can't let you in, acting like this. And she's like, oh, you're gonna be sorry if you don't. So she had also, I believe, threatened to crash his car on other occasions. Now, like I said, the parents were cool with her smoking, but that's not all she did. She smoked, and she did mushies. Okay, but we don't know that that's even all she did, right? We don't even know what she was on during the crash because they threw that out. The hospital threw out her samples after the crash. So, what we do know is that night, she was in the driver's seat. Her boyfriend was next to her, and Davion was in the back seat. And she went 100 miles per hour with no brakes into a building and smashed the car, killing her boyfriend and his best friend. She survived. She sustained some injuries, but she survived. And apparently, she was in the hospital. She was not in a coma, but her mom and dad told everybody she was in a coma because they didn't want her talking to anybody. And then when like a friend came by, the dad did tell the friend, please save my daughter, and that kind of implied, don't tell anybody anything that you know, because there was a couple friends with them right before they left. It wasn't a party, it was like a little friend group get-together thing. And like I said, we don't know what she was on because the hospital threw out the samples the day after they got the warrant. What's that about? I don't know. So for this interview, tell me why this Netflix interview, the dad decides to wear a shirt that says boom on it. B-O-O-M, boom, with like, this comic book like Boom, which is not something you would wear after your daughter crashes a car that killed 2 boys. He wears this shirt to the interview, the mom's in the interview, and that's the first time that I saw clips from, well, she gets up there and she says a couple things about the people that pass, like, oh, this is a tragic accident, and the whole rest is about like how good her daughter is and her daughter's not a murderer, etc., etc. And then in court, I guess she had said that she had POTS, but I don't think there's any medical records of her having POTS. And if she did have POTS, that would have made her pass out, which could cause an accident, but it wouldn't make you go 100 miles per hour, foot fully pressed against the back of the car, or the floor of the car. So that is highly unlikely that that's what happened, especially after we've heard her make threats about crashing cars and stuff, right? And I always tell kids, students, relatives, whatever, if somebody's driving crazy in the car, you gotta get out, like, you gotta pretend like you're puking. Most people do not want puke in their car, so if there's any chance that they're just goofing around and they don't have intent to, like, actually kill, they'll probably stop because they don't want to clean puke out of their car. That's just, I don't know, it might save somebody's life. Anyways, yeah, so court, she did get found guilty, and she had to do non-consecutive. She could be out in 15 years, which is crazy. Originally, Dom's family thought she was innocent. They believed what they heard. They thought she was in a coma. They thought it was a tragic accident. But as more came out about the case, and they learned that she likely did this on purpose, they did pull away from her. And so as they're pulling away from her, she's making all these kind of accusations against them, saying that they're haters, that they're dramatic. Like, we're learning that you killed I'm dramatic because I pulled away from you after I learned you intentionally killed my son. And as she says these things in these calls, her mom totally agrees with her. In fact, I haven't heard of any situation where her mom's like, no, maybe you should think about this differently. It's always like, honey, you're right. Honey, you're right. This girl's an absolute dipshit, and it's still, honey, you're right. The mom doesn't have all her marbles, and neither does the dad, okay? So, they're a family full of dipshits. So yeah, the dad wore that shirt that said boom, and then he did talk about, well, in the interview, I would rather my kids smoke weed, blah, blah, blah. I don't know who was covering it, and they're like, yes, in other context, you could say something like that. But in the context of what happened and us not knowing what caused this accident, saying stuff like that is, you probably shouldn't hop on the interview and say anything like that. But he did. Now this dad worked at a Catholic or a private school, and he was let go after the interview was released. They sent out a statement like, it seems he's made some irresponsible choices, something like that, and we've let him go. He claims to not know any more details than that about why he was let go. So he's out of work now. Good. Also, since the interview, all the jail calls have been released and they've been analyzed, and like I said, the mom just totally agrees with everything the daughter is saying. But also, come to find out, they have a younger daughter. I think she's a younger daughter. She's autistic. I don't know if she's nonverbal, but apparently they treat her like absolute. And they treat, I've told you how they treat Mackenzie. But they treat the other girl like a dog. And they laugh about her and talk about how gross she is. Meanwhile, Mackenzie's on these jail calls saying, she's like, man, my scalp is full of dandruff. And that she's got bumps all over her arse. Like, she's like, I really need to shower, but I'm so pretty, I can't shower. It's too scary, because I'm the prettiest girl here. she's had like 4 girlfriends, I guess, since she's been locked up. So she's not in mourning or anything, like she's been dating in there. I don't know how she does not get her ass kicked. I don't know. If this girl can survive in prison, then prison shouldn't scare anybody. Because this girl is a mouthy little brat that should be getting her ass kicked every day. And she's not. She walks around the yard like she's the shit, I guess. She's got ass. We know that the creeps come out when you get locked up. When you go batshit, you get locked up. The creeps come out, and so she's got like fan clubs of men that send her commissary, and I guess she's allowed to have like all kinds of makeup, and I don't know what system this is. Doesn't sound like a rehabilitation to me of any sort. She's got all kinds of infractions, you know, contraband and being places she's not supposed to be. She's in there doing what she was doing out here, doing whatever she wants and acting any kind of way and getting away with it. There was one point when she was still out, I believe, that she was speaking in front of a detective, right? And she goes, "Can I talk to my mom for a second?" And he's like, "Sure, whatever." And she starts speaking in this weird language that I've never heard before. Apparently it's Carney language. I don't know what's going on, right? But it creeped me out because she was fluent. Fluent, like she was 100 words a minute. Fluent, like words were flying. And her mom was grabbing it at that speed. So they've done a lot of code before, right? That was very odd. And now there's a lot coming out about her asking her dad for warm milk because the texts are out. And night after night, she asks her dad for warm milk, which it's always between like 11 p.m. and 3 a.m. What is your dad as a teacher? What is he doing up between 11 and 3? I don't know. And a lot of people are like, well, you know, people use warm milk to go to sleep, and she's just a spoiled brat, so she's like, hey, bring me warm milk, because she's got to come down, and it is true that warm milk does help you come down off of weed or the other thing that she frequents. But there's other people saying that it could mean there was something else going on, like maybe she was the victim of I don't know. How would we ever know? I would think that she would come out with that as like a defense. So I'm leaning more towards that she is just a spoiled brat. When she wants her warm milk to go to sleep, then daddy brings her warm milk. But there was also, dad, come rub my feet. And then in one of the warm milk ones, it was, come bring me warm milk, be quiet when you come in. Which is like, why, if you're still up and you're, why would he need to be quiet? Plus it says, I don't know. Yeah, the whole thing, I binged all kinds of Mackenzie Shirilla stuff for a week, and there's just still, I will say, I'm kind of just bored with listening to the jail calls, though, because I don't like this bitch, and so I don't want to hear her talk. I don't want to hear her stupid mom talk, or the stupid dad. He did one other interview where he said something else that was incredibly offbeat. He said, well, I think that because Dominic's last name is Russo, and the Russos are a big family out here, that's why she went to jail. Okay, but he said if it had just been Dom, the other boy in the accident, I don't think she'd be in jail. Almost as if Davion, the other boy, did not matter. Kind of implying that. So there was that, and then there's also a lot of stuff, because remember I said Mackenzie was younger than Dom, right? And they were saying, you know, this is Dom was selling weed. Which, it does appear as if that would may be true. That doesn't mean anybody deserved to die. But that is why they had so much to consume as well. And he was also buying her all kinds of stuff that like 18, 19-year-olds don't usually get their hands on at their income levels, like Chanel and Prada, whatever, So that was very strange, but that doesn't justify, I mean, could it be coming out now to assassinate his character? I don't know. To me, that's here nor there. They were both out. The part about him being way older, that might, I don't know the exact ages, but if it wasn't legal, then there's a problem. I guess if her parents say it's fine, then in that state, maybe it is fine. I don't know. And then Dom's sister